Welcome back to Third Minute. I'm Zack Phillips, and in tonight's live stream, we're going to be breaking down game number 27 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season here tonight, discussing what the hell went on hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets. You're losing 5-0 going into the third period. Ilya Samsonov absolutely stinks tonight. And then the Leafs somehow storm back and tie this one. I see a lot of stuff in the chat, so we'll get to that. We'll break down the game. We'll break down the comeback. We'll break down losing in overtime here and the performance that was put forth. If you guys are in the chat and you want to talk about what happened here tonight, you want to talk about this game, you want to talk about all that stuff, you can message me on Twitter. You send me a DM on there, ask me to call into the show. I'll send you a link. You can send it to me on Instagram. You can send it to me on Discord. If you've got me on there, I'll pass along links to people who want to call in. But before we can get to any of that, I got to remind people, if you're watching right now, you have not already, hit that like button here on the stream. About a quarter of the people, less than a quarter of the people watching right now have not or have hit the like button. The rest of you have not. So please hit the like button here. Help grow the stream. Help get this out to more people. We want to continue to grow this, continue to grow the community, the whole thing. So hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel. Trying to get back to 1,000 subscribers here. We're only at 813. Every time I ask you guys, you help bump it up a little bit more, but let's crank it all the way up and get to 1,000 here tonight. Let's get into the game. This was an absolute gong show. People are going to be mad. People are going to be happy about this one. This is a classic Leafs spot. Let's be honest. Before going into this game, if you were sitting there thinking, oh, the Leafs are going to take care of business, this will be a comfortable win against a shitty team in the NHL, you were fooling yourself, because this Columbus team stinks, and this Leafs team, this was the biggest letdown spot in the entire history of Toronto Maple Leafs on ice play. I mean, you're talking about a team here coming off of a decent game against the Islanders where you happen to lose, an incredible game against the Rangers where you blow their doors off and you say, wow, what a performance. You have your third goalie. You have Noah Gregor up on the first line playing pretty well. You get 2 goals from Matthews, 2 goals from Marner. You get contribution throughout the lineup, and the team looks pretty good. They take it to a Rangers team that you're sitting there saying, that's a legitimate NHL team. That is a team that could win the Stanley Cup this season with an incredible goalie, and they light him up. I talked about it yesterday on some shows that I was on. I talked about it in the last game. This game here tonight for the Maple Leafs was guaranteed bad spot for them, because you're in Toronto on a Thursday, typically quiet to start a game. This team already stinks at starting games on time. Plus, then you put no momentum behind them from a mostly quiet crowd on a weeknight here in Toronto. That's going to be even harder for them to get going. Plus, they play down to the level of their competition, which they did. Plus, Samsonov goes in. He hasn't been great. You say, hey, you didn't play terrible on Tuesday night. You didn't play the best game on Saturday, but you played a pretty good in a game there. You get a shutout on 18 shots. You just kind of look at some of the movements of him there. He didn't look that comfortable, but you walk away, 18 save shutout. All right, you can't really ask much more out of a guy after that. Tuesday night, okay, not bad. Let's get into it here against the Blue Jackets and see where he comes out. He stunk. Samsonov was absolutely terrible to start this game. Like, this might have been one of his worst games as a Toronto Maple Leaf. This might have been one of his worst games in the NHL ever. You're talking about a goal that hit him in the forehead and went in between his own legs. Do you know how hard that is? Like, do you know how hard that is as an NHL goaltender to score on yourself off of your own forehead? He put it in off his own forehead through his legs. Like, he's facing the shooter with his back to the net, and he scored on himself through the legs off his own forehead. It's a different level of insanity when you're watching that happen, sitting here going, that's goal number 5 of this game. This thing is over. The team had no effort, no intensity. It feels like there's no pushback, no fight back. Your goaltender stinks right now against a crappy team. You're getting booed off the ice. And then they come out in the third period and they close this one down. Like, this team, this is one of those reasons why I feel like this team is not a serious contending team. Every single person in the world looks at you and says, letdown spot, letdown spot, letdown spot. Show us why it's not a letdown spot. yeah, you fought back, and I know that we're going to get some people in the chat pushing back on it. I know people on Twitter are going to be pushing back on it. I get it, because you're sitting here saying, well, you pushed it to overtime, you got a point, you had the flu bug going through, Nyes didn't play again here tonight, whatever. But it's like the best teams in the world figure these things out. The teams that are legitimate, serious contenders, they figure these things out. They find a way through it, and they'll just get it done. Or even if they're in a spot where maybe they lose this game, they've done it in a way where you showed up for more than 20 minutes of the game. This team didn't start playing here tonight until it was in 30 seconds into the third period, and then they come in, and Nylander gets the goal, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe we got a little bit of life, and then they start rolling. Obviously, yeah, they tie the game, they get to overtime, but it's like, this was a shitty game. They played terribly here tonight. This is not a game you can walk away from and be overly happy about, because it was garbage. And then till the last 20 minutes, and then it was some of the most electric hockey you've ever seen, and it felt like they were playing against an East Coast Hockey League team out there. No disrespect. But you come out, you're flying, you got some intensity, you got some energy going, and it's like, this is the performance that makes people in the hockey world look at you like not legitimate contenders. And I know people get mad at that because they say top team in the playoffs, some of the top scorers, some of the top point getters. Obviously, I get that stuff. Dennis putting it perfectly there. I would almost sum it up exactly as that. Lazy team with a lot of skill. This is a team that will be able to put up a lot of points, be able to have great regular season records, and be on pace for 100 plus points a season because they have so much skill. They have all the skill in the world. They have a guy on their team right now who's on pace for 70 goals this season. But it's just like the whole rest of the thing, it just can't be put together consistently. And I'm not even talking about just here within this game tonight where you're like 40 minutes and then the 20 where you're saying, hey, play a 60. I'm talking about you've just come off of one of your best games of the season into what was potentially your worst, until the third period, potentially your worst game of the season. You understand the frustrations in the fluctuation of level of play of this team? To go from the highest of high to the lowest of low like that? There was really no change in anything. In fact, you've technically gone with the guy in net who's your better goaltender. Like, he's a guy that was basically your number one at the end of last season until he gets hurt, and obviously Wool goes in there. Wool kind of takes over the number one spot, and then it's like, okay, Samsonov, you're still the guy that we paid a few $1 million to. Martin Jones was on this low-end salary with booby traps getting waved to the minors, and yet all of a sudden he's better than Samsonov. Like, just put things together consistently is, I guess, what I'm asking for. Super chat here. All right. Super chat. Jeff McKay. Jeff, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much for that. Jeff saying, this team is not good enough. They spent 2 periods getting rocked along the boards and would not stop playing the puck to the boards. You would think some of the bench would figure it out that it was not working. Yeah, no, 100% agree. Like, this is one of those games you're watching this team, watching the way things are going along, and it's like, these are things that they do against better teams as well here, where it's simple mistakes or bad habits that creep into your game or you allow to linger that there's no need for them. Like Jeff saying here, they spent 2 periods getting rocked along the boards and would not stop playing the puck to the boards. It's like at some point you'd think, hey, let's play in the middle of the ice. Like, let's take this into where Columbus is having a hard time defending us, having a hard time keeping opportunities down for us within. Let's just continue to play along the boards where they're going to be physical. They're going to slow us down. They're not going to allow us to have these dangerous opportunities. And yet it's like, get the puck, instead of possessing the puck, instead of having possession time, take the puck, fire it back up the boards. Take the puck, fire it back up the boards. Give it back to Columbus. Okay, now you've got the puck back. Play it along the boards. You're playing skating up and down the boards. At some point here, try something different. Get into the middle. Attack lanes, find some openings. Like, that's what they did in the third period, and you see here tonight, that was very successful. Now, mind you, I know people are gonna blame Samsonov for this loss, and I get it. He should take a large portion of blame here tonight, considering how bad he was in this game. He's going to admit, we know how open he is. He's going to admit in this post game how bad he was tonight. This team was so terrible in the first 40 minutes. Had they played like they did in the final 30, they probably could have won 8, 9, 10-1 tonight against this Blue Jackets team. It does not matter how Merzlikins played. Like, it legitimately does not matter how Merzlikins played here tonight, because if this Leafs team brought the intensity that they took in the third period from the opening puck drop and played through the first 40 minutes like that, this is a complete and utter blowout the other way. Like a full-on blowout the other way. So to watch that happen is just frustrating. It's infuriating. It's infuriating to see. There's no need for that to happen because you are a better team. You are a better team by a lot. And other people saying, well, they came back in the third period. I get that. That's going to be something you're going to hold on to and say, great pushback. Columbus is a shitty hockey club. They're a bad team. From their standpoint, this is the least surprising thing ever. They're not good. Not good defensively, not good offensively. They've struggled with some goaltending issues. This was a tough scene to watch. The final 20 minutes was exhilarating, no doubt. I'm on board with that. That was an incredible final 30 or 20. But for that to happen for 40 minutes before you get to that 20, and then that's the way you're able to close out. Insanity. All right, I got to read some of the chat here. I also want to kind of look at some of these ESPN box score stuff. Samsonov with an .829 save percentage. My God. All right, let's read the chat. Let's see where you guys are at. Also, if you guys are watching right now, there's only 15 likes. There's over 50 people watching. There's no need not to hit the like button. Hit the like button. Every 50 likes, bring the salts out. It's easy. If you're watching this right now, hit the like button. Subscribe here to the channel. Help support the channel. Continue to grow this. Make more videos. Talk about the Leafs. Do more live streams. Bring back some watch-alongs. All that kind of stuff. It'll be here on this channel. So I want that. I want to continue to build this community back up to what we have before and continue to have this rocking. But hit that like button. Help continue. Let's get to the chat. Yeah, I think that some of this was being sent while the third period and into overtime was going on, so fair enough. Phenom, that third period and first 2 minutes of overtime was amazing. Austin Matthews almost got the Hattie. Yep, kind of covered that, right? Like the third period, incredible. The first 2 minutes of OT, it was pretty electric. Chances up and down the ice there. Felt like the Leafs could have won this game in overtime. It's just like reality check here with this team. Didn't deserve to win this game. Did not deserve to win this game. Devin Sr. there asking, do we still believe in Sammy? The answer is no. We do not. We do not believe in Sammy. I mean, Sammy was a guy that you could look at and say, you get hot. He'll get hot. He could get hot. There's a reason Washington let him go. He got hot last year. Seems to be really struggling this year. And the other problem with him that we've seen a little bit here is it seems to take a big mental toll on him. And it feels a little bit like the Jack Campbell mental toll, where every media scrum, every practice, every quote that he gets when they're talking about him and he's being asked questions, it's like, I'm not good. I need to be better. This needs to change. Things need to improve. And every single thing that happens seems to weigh on him like you've never seen. That's fine if you are a goaltender who riles off the emotions and takes it in stride and takes it positively. Samsonov doesn't really seem to be that guy. He seems to be a guy who, when he's happy and when things are going well, it obviously brings up the entire game. But when things are not going well, it can get dark. And he can get into a really, really dark place where he starts to turn on himself, where he doesn't trust himself. He starts to over-exaggerate movements. He starts to overreact to things. And at that point in time, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper because he's relying on now athleticism and not being a goaltender that has good good positioning, good mental foundation, and now it's overreaction mentally. It's overreaction physically. Saves are made. He's firing rebounds everywhere. He's ripping across side to side like you haven't never seen goaltenders do. He's swimming around in the net, and he looks really, really uncomfortable. It's not a happy place between his ears. You've got Martin Jones behind him. You've got Joseph Wool coming back soon. I can't imagine he's in a good place right now. I think this might have helped him here tonight or not actually, I guess not helped, but not made this worse for him tonight. The fact that they didn't yank him after the fifth goal, they're like, yo, you go in there and you fight for your life because the team's been shit and you've been shit. So you can't blame this on one or the other. This is a combo effort here of everyone just stinking tonight. Fight your way out of this one. And without him getting yanked, maybe he's like, oh, well, stayed in there in the third, fought through, and we got back to overtime. But not being great. 6 1/3 saying we got Martin Jones back there. You're fine. I mean, sure, but again, it's like, who's the guy that goes in net when Martin Jones isn't? Because Martin Jones can't play every single game until Joseph Wool comes back. So at that point, Samsonov's got to go in. Like, you're not going to just have this guy sitting on the bench and being playing Keith Petruzzelli. Not great there. 6 1/3. It's like your big brother spotting you points to make it fair. I know you're joking, but like, that should never be the case in an NHL game. And they also lost this game. Phenom. Leafs know their fans love hockey, so they try to give us as much game time as possible. Lots of OT. It's an interesting way of looking at it. Jesse Chavez, Sammy, we need a big... Oh, this, I guess, must have been happening during the overtime period there. Corey V, the fact they got a point out of that game is awesome. Bad game to start, almost perfect ending. I agree. Third period, pretty impressive third period. Pretty almost perfect third period from the standpoint of the intensity that was brought, the way that they took it to Columbus without really allowing too many opportunities coming back the other way. You killed off some penalties within there. Like, you found a way to tighten everything up defensively, stop playing on the perimeter, actually get yourself into the middle of the ice, become a threat every time you're touching the puck, managed to possess the puck without just turning it back over and giving Columbus opportunities, giving the puck back to Columbus. Once that third period came, it was like, oh, wow, let's actually play hockey now. Like, this is embarrassing. We got booed by our fans leaving the ice on home ice after we just played incredible on Tuesday night against the Rangers. It was not pretty for 40 minutes. Yeah, it was almost a perfect third period. I would agree with that. But this is, again, too little too late. This is too little too late. And truthfully, they did not deserve to win this. Taylor Osler, hard not to just laugh at that game. Realistically, that was an absolute atrocity of a game, but my God, that was entertaining. 100%, it was entertaining. It was entertaining from the standpoint of, for 40 minutes, you said, this is exactly what we thought would happen tonight. This is who this team is. And then for the last 20 minutes, you said, oh, cool, we might see an incredible comeback here. What a game. What a performance. Hit the like button if you guys are watching right now and you haven't already. Continue to get more viewers. It helps get more viewers, get more people in here, get the chat buzzing. I want to continue to see that, so hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. I appreciate all the support. Phenom, props to Keefe for game management at the end of the game and using the timeout at perfect time. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think it was pretty good. But it's again like nitpicking on some little things that went well in that third period. When you look at the mass body of work ahead of that, it was not pretty. It was not pretty. Talking about Samsonov, Samsonov and becoming Jack Campbell 2.0. It does kind of feel like that right now. Denver saying, Zach, what is wrong with Samsonov? Well, in regards to Samsonov, I talked about it a little bit, but I think this is mostly mental here. This is primarily a mental thing with Samsonov because we saw him have these little stretch, these little phases and these dips in his play last year where all of a sudden it would be sporadic, things not going great, but you weren't seeing the volume of garbage goals going in on him that we're seeing right now. So now they come in waves, and then he gets into this dark place where you could see him react to them. You see him take it on the chin, take it on the shoulders for how bad these goals are that are being let in. Like, I cannot get that goal out of my head that hit him in the forehead and went between his own legs. He was facing away from the net, and it hit him in the forehead and went between his legs in the net. That is so impressive to have that happen. It's almost shocking. This is a pretty rough night, and I think it's just between the ears right now. I don't even know what there is to do to get out of it. We know that this Leafs team has supposedly brought in therapists and psychologists to talk with this team. That's how you know things are also dark with this organization as a whole. They're bringing these guys in not to make sure that these guys are okay. I fully support that side of things, that you should do that. They're bringing these guys in because they're trying to break voodoo out of their brains to say, hey, you could finally win. Don't worry. What can we do to get you over the hump? Because there's some psychological block in your head that's stopping you from getting to winning or having success in the playoffs. They brought these guys in to solve that. Another super chat here. Thank you, Jeff McKay, for the super chat. Jeff saying, one more thing about them on the boards. If the boards were alive, they would have gotten a restraining order on them. Jeff, it's a good comment. Appreciate it. I don't really know what else you want me to say on the boards there. I agree with your point. It's a funny comment. Thank you. All right, continue to get back to the chat here. I'm seeing a lot of trade Samsonov. I'm seeing some trade for Carter Hart. One thing with Samsonov here, if you're trading Samsonov, you're not getting anything in return. Let's be real. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's got a bunch of money. He's a free agent at the end of the season. And he's had a garbage start. Like, if you're a team out there who's looking for a goaltender right now, you are not calling up the Leafs and saying, what do you think about trading Ilya Samsonov? Because the Leafs are a contending team probably looking for a goaltender right now. Why the hell would they be saying, yeah, we'll take Samsonov here? So the trade value on him is at a all-time low of what it could be at this point. He is the UFA at the end of the season. He has been really, really bad. It's just, he's not getting traded for anything of value. If anything, it's like a straight cap dump to some team who's like, yeah, we just want to get Macklin Celebrini. We want the first overall pick. Give us your goaltender, and then that's about it. We'll call it a day. Like, it's not pretty. There's no trade suitors that you're really going to get that are going to improve your team. So then if you're going to do that, you need one of two things. You need a bunch of stuff to happen here. First of all, you need to make sure that Joseph Woll is going to return at 100% health. You need to make sure Joseph Woll returns at 100% health and gets back to the level of play that he was at before he got hurt. You're going to need to make sure Martin Jones is good enough to be able to play and back up and take on a decent amount of workload here and actually step into games and help this Leafs team win. And then if that one is iffy or you're deciding to move past that, you're going to need to make sure there's another goaltender available to go out there and get. Like Ilya Samsonov this season, through 12 games, has 3.29 goals against average and an .884 save percentage. That's excluding tonight's game. by the way. So wait till those stats get added onto there. That's just pulling up elite prospects. That's before tonight's game. Now, in terms of where Carter Hart is at, because I'm seeing people say trade for him, that's great. Search engine just stalling out there on me. Carter Hart, obviously younger, great. He's a year younger, 2 years younger. 3.97. He's also been a little bit up and down, but here's the problem. Philadelphia's sneaking their way up there right now. If you were to look at a team that is drastically outperforming what we thought they would be ahead of this season, you're looking at a team that could sneak themselves into the playoffs and a team that might be able to accelerate their rebuild a little bit. It's the Philadelphia Flyers. That is a team who has traditionally, in the last, 20 plus years, looked at their goaltending situation and made wrong decision after wrong decision. Paying the wrong guys, trading the wrong guys. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Bobrovsky was in Philadelphia and they sent him away. I highly doubt they look at Carter Hart and are eager to move on from him, especially with the way he's playing right now and especially with the way that team is playing. Getting in another win here tonight against Washington. Philadelphia is ahead of Carolina in the standings in points. Not by much, but they are. That's not a team that's going to say, yeah, we're going to be happy to move away from him. It'll be a haul going back the other way. Another super chat here. Phenom. Zach, are we asking for trouble to put so much pressure on a very young goalie? What if Wool comes back not 100% and struggles? Then it's all on Jones. In terms of, are we putting too much pressure on a young goaltender? No, because everyone else in the chat there is saying Carter Hart, Carter Hart, Carter Hart. They're the same age. Joseph Wool was drafted in the same draft year as Austin Matthews. Obviously, it took him longer to get here and to get himself into the NHL on a consistent basis. But I don't think this is putting too much pressure on the guy. You're not really sitting there and demanding carry us anywhere. Carry us into the playoffs, carry us to the Stanley Cup. You're just saying, like, don't lose games. Like, if you're going to be a really good goalie, be a really good goalie. But to the other points that you kind of made there and the other things you brought up, I do agree with. You're saying, what if Wool comes back not 100%? Exactly. Like, then what? There's a lot going on there. Then you say, what if he struggles? What if it's all, like, this could all go on to Martin Jones? Yeah, these are not ideal situations. The one thing I would even say ahead of this is, like, this team just needs to play better. This team just needs to play better. Because as garbage as Samsonov was tonight, if the team is better ahead of him, it's probably a much better look. And I saw tweets saying, oh, the Leafs 5, Samsonov 6 tonight. Be like, Samsonov was playing against the Leafs. I get it. He played terribly. This Leafs team was garbage for 40 minutes. And a lot of this was self-inflicted. A lot of this they did to themselves and put themselves in this spot to allow this to happen. You do this in front of any goaltender, it's not going to be pretty. Because at the end of that 40 minutes, if the Leafs were in a spot where they could still win this thing, or it was a much tighter game, if Wool was in net, if Martin Jones was in net, we would be sitting here having the conversation about, oh my God, how good did they play for the first 40 minutes? The Leafs didn't deserve to be in there at all. This is just the case of a night where you sat here after 40 and said, well, they got what they deserved because this was such a terrible start. It was a rough start. Rough start. 6 1/3. I don't give a shit about the comeback. I don't care at all. Kill your buzz. Don't kill your buzz. You do whatever you want to do. You're going to be happy with this anyways. This team could have lost 15-0. You would have been happy with this. I don't really give a crap anymore. I don't care. Congratulations. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the 2 goals. Go sit on your phone tonight and just watch those back over and over again, while the rest of us are going to be realistic about this organization, about this team, and the fact that they can't play consistently. They can't string together 3 wins. They can't find ways to play full 60-minute games. They're struggling with goaltending right now. I'm happy that they're finding ways through some of these struggles with the goaltending deficiency, with Wool being out, with Samsonov struggling, with defensemen having to hop up and getting a point. Those things are great. The problem is not the game-to-game basis, which I think is what a lot of people are frustrated with and taking away from these things. It's the one thing that I'm taking away from through this consistently. I am happy on a game-to-game basis. It's great to watch Austin Matthews be on pace for 70 goals for this season. That's amazing. The frustration comes in this. We've seen this team year after year after year after year look the same, play the same, and act the same. Every single fan base, every team, every person around the league looks at this Leafs team and knows that going into a game against Columbus is a spot that they lose this game. The sad thing about it, and the reason that it's frustrating, is because everyone looks at the Leafs and says they'll lose that game. Arizona, you're minus 400 favors against the Coyotes. You'll probably lose that game. Minus 300 favorites against the Blue Jackets. You'll lose that game. Minus 250, minus 300 favorites against the Ducks. You'll lose that game. And the thing is, they probably will. I look at the other teams in this league that we consider serious teams. We consider teams that can, will, should win the Stanley Cup. You look at those teams, they might lose this game every now and then. But you look at them in the spot, it is rare that going into it, you would think to yourself, they'll probably lose that game. Because they are just better, they try harder, they bring more energy, and they play 60 minutes. They might not get the puck luck, they might not get the bounces, they might not get the goaltending. Or conversely, the other team does get the goaltending. But the thing is, when you look at those other teams, it is very rare that going into it, the conversation surrounding it is, this is a letdown spot where this team loses tonight. With the Leafs, 99% of the time in these spots against these teams, at home, mind you, in your own goddamn building against a shitty hockey team, you go into this and you think the Leafs will probably lose tonight. And guess what? They did. So, for 40 minutes, you got outplayed, you got embarrassed. Your goaltender stunk, your big boys didn't show up. Nothing was good about that first 40. And then people want to come on here after and say, yeah, but Matthews is on pace for 70. If that's what you're here for, then that's fine. I get it. I'm not going to be mad at you for being happy or taking joy out of personal accomplishments that happened during the season. That's fine. But I think myself, what I'm interested in, what I want to do, what I want to break down, analyze, and watch, and kind of anticipate here as we go on, is the team's progression and ability to work towards an organization that can win a Stanley Cup, and right now, they can't. I don't think that they can. I don't think that they can, because they lack the ability to put together these things in the bigger picture. Denver saying, can you answer my question? Do you think David Savard would be the missing piece for Toronto? No. I think he would be good. He would be helpful. I don't think he would be the missing piece. I don't. I heard them talking about him. I heard them saying He would be the more expensive piece than Tanev. This team needs a top 4 defenseman. They probably need 2 defensemen, truthfully. They need probably 2 top 4 defensemen here at this point. And outside of that, it's not really like, oh, look at this team. They need massive surgery. They need massive changes. What they need is their 4 best players to be their 4 best players every night. Because look at Edmonton. Look at the start to the season that they had. It was god-awful. And you could say consistently about that team after every one of those games, McDavid and Draisaitl weren't that great tonight. McDavid and Draisaitl weren't that great after each one. And it's accurate. And that's what happened. And that's why the team did not look great. And now where they're at, on this heater of a run that they're on, with how well they're playing, guess who's the best player on their team and likely on the ice every single night that they play? It's McDavid and Draisaitl. And as much as I might want to poke fun at them for not having the depth that they should have to go on and be a team that can win Stanley Cups or whatever, I like to make fun of that because obviously we are Leafs fans and we're going to do that with them. It's the perfect example of what the hell happens when your best players are your best players that they need to be. I do think this team needs an upgrade in the bottom 4. I'm not the biggest fan of David Savard in terms of a guy who's going to drastically change things. I think he's a good addition into the depth. I don't think he's a over-the-top kind of player. I don't think he's a push you over the ledge kind of player. The frustration more so in this lies in why the hell can't the big boys show up and play every single night? Marner has not been very good so far this season. He's just not. Matthews on pace for 70. He's had periods where he kind of just disappears, right? I don't have too much to complain about with Tavares. He's Mr. Consistency. Willie's been really good for the most part, but there's times where even throughout games, these guys just go missing. And I know there's a lot of questions. What do you think about Domi tonight? What do you think about Robertson, Bertuzzi? My honest thought, and you probably heard it on, I think it was on Overdrive. I think it was Frank Corrado as well. My thoughts on this is like, we should not be coming on here after a game where the team's getting blown out 5-0 after the second period and discussing the third line. The reason I feel like that is because if things are 5-0, there's obviously a lot of shit going on ahead in the top 6 to allow it to get to that point. So I cannot and will not pin blame on the third and the fourth lines. I won't. I don't think they played great tonight. I don't. But I think it's unfair to come on here after a game like that where you're going to look at that 40-minute body of work to start this game and say, oh yeah, the third line needed to be better. What happens if they're better? One less Columbus goal or one more Leafs goal? Like, are we going into the third period 4-0 or 5-1? Does that change things for you, make you happier about it? If the top 6 plays a much better game, it alleviates all pressure away from those rest of those lines, and they should not and ever be the story coming away from this stuff. They just shouldn't be. So no, I don't think that they played great, to answer some of the questions there. But they've been playing really well over the last little while. They have been playing really well over the last little while. It's the big boys that you need to be better. 6 1/3, by the way. I'm going to say this. You want to continue to go on and on and on and on and on about how happy you are watching individual success that leads to fuck all in the playoffs and this team just inevitably loses in the first round or 5 games into the second round. Good for you. But if you want to have an actual conversation about it, send a message and call in. Call into the show. Let's discuss it. Just sitting there, firing away, trolling in the chat about how happy you are walking away with a picture of the standings printed and put up on your wall at the end of the season. Congratulations. I don't think anyone else in the entire world is as happy with participation trophies as you are at this point. So you want to come in, you want to have a discussion about it, you want to talk about what's going on, your thoughts of this, and why we're in the wrong for being critical of these teams and these players at this point to lead to this, call in. We'll discuss it. But just to say it was 6-5, it was 6-5, it was 6-5 in overtime, who gives a shit? Someone who has my Discord, send it in there. Find a way to send it. I don't know how to get it to work. I tried to send it before. You can also follow me on Twitter and send me a message on there. There's my Twitter. At Zack Phil. Or that's not. There you go. Again, if you're watching 2 likes away from 50, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Does help support the show. Do appreciate that. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys continuing to subscribe, continuing to grow things here. Does help us a lot. Trying to get this up to 1,000 here now. All right. I'm still reading the chat. You guys are firing away right now. Ben, Zach Hyman is on a 52-goal pace this season. Okay, I know the Hyman stuff. We do have to step away every now and then and just consider how much does Mitch Marner get paid? Mitch Marner is probably overpaid by about $1.5 million to $2 million. That money easily going somewhere else. Tavares, Matthews, those are centers. Those are 1-2 centers here on this team. They will be here for the entirety of their careers. Tavares is a pillar of consistency when it comes to point production, face-offs, and power play ability. Austin Matthews is a guy who's on pace for 70 goals. The past contract and the current one were well earned by him. Mitch Marner's contract, he strong-held the Leafs, demanded money, got it, and royally fucked him over and put himself in the bad books of most Leafs fans here in Toronto. You guys hit 50 likes there. We'll get to it. But when you're going to talk about Zach Hyman, remember how much money other guys were being paid or got paid. Because I like Morgan Rielly. I think his contract's probably pretty decent. Maybe not the best, but it's pretty decent. Matthews, Tavares, fine with those. Thank you guys for hitting 50 likes. If you get it to 100 by the end of the stream, rip these again. But here you go. All right. Keep liking the stream. Keep subscribing to the channel. All right. Yeah. Spend games. You can call in as well on the phone. Obviously, you guys just have to have Zoom. I'll send you a link. You click on the link and call in. And then you guys can talk to us on there. Or call in and let us know your thoughts on here. All right. Chat is firing right now. Firing. Zach Simpkins, Roman Polak, Martin Marincin, Garrett Sparks. Oh, I messed up your comment. Leafs need 3 things. 2 D-man and a goalie. Roman Polak. Oh my God. This is annoying. Well, I'll fix this. Where is this camera thing? Every time. I don't know how to get this thing to stop doing that. I don't know if this works or not. Oh boy. See, I don't know how this keeps happening every time. I know you guys can hear me, so see if we can fix this in real time. There seems to be something that goes on with this camera. Where it just freezes like this. Hold on. No. This is not the computer fault. This is a system error here where there we go. We should be good. This is a system error where if there's like a hand motion or something, then for some reason, whatever thing it is, it pulls up. If I put my hands in front of the camera, it'll pull up and freeze the screen because it brings up birthday balloons up on my screen. And I can't even figure out how to turn the setting off to have that happen. I turned it off before. My screen update or my computer updated the other way, and it seems to have brought it back up. So now this is another thing here where this continues to go. But with that being said, we're 48 minutes into this one, I guess. Let's get to our play of the game. Arnab saying open task manager and see what is happening. You might need more RAM. It's legit not a RAM issue. This computer is juiced up like nobody's business to get this thing rocking. It is a literal one system bug in this thing that does it for everyone. I've seen this happen to other people using the same computer where it recognizes a hand motion via the camera and it pauses the whole thing. I can't figure out how to get this thing back off. It happened to me when we first started the stream. I didn't know what was happening. Then I figured out what was happening, turned it off. Now it seems to be turned off, but it's happening. The same thing happened again there. So we'll see. I'll see if I can figure it out in between. Let's get to the play of the game. I don't even know. I think play of the game for me is going to be the Matthews tying goal. You finally get this fan base fired up back into it. I mean, you've got 40 minutes of shit hockey against a garbage team. Imagine having paid, like, you're sitting there through 40 thinking, like, I just paid $300 to come sit in these seats, to come watch this team on a Thursday. You've brought your kid to their first ever game. You're at $600 now. You're at dinner. You had to take the train, whatever it is, and you're watching this garbage hockey game go on in front of you. And then all of a sudden the Leafs make it interesting. They fire away for 20 minutes, put up a crazy number of shots, take it to Columbus there in the third period. And Austin Matthews ties the game to put himself on pace for 70 goals this season. I mean, honestly, honorable mention, Spen bringing up McCabe Clapper. I think that's going to be one there as well for sure. That one's definitely deserving. That was disgusting. Steps in, goes bar down off that shot. I can't believe that they came back in this one. They were dead. They were out of it. The crowd was out of it. Like, it was miserable. And yet they send it to overtime. What a performance. I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happened. And I can believe the way that it ended. Let's get to our grades of the game here.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Grades of the game, fire them in the chat. I want to know what other people think here as well. Spend Game saying the crowd should boo more. Yeah, maybe, because God, they come out all of a sudden firing into that one in the third period. They came out strong to start the second period, but that was for like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and then it would just disappeared again. Third period, firing. I'm seeing some B's, B minuses, B plus. I cannot get to that. This is a C minus, maybe D plus kind of game. Honestly, D plus game. You played so shit for 40 minutes against a garbage team in your home building. You lacked consistency. You lacked awareness. You lacked ability to come out and show up for your fans, show up for the crowd, coming off of what was an incredible game and result against the New York Rangers. You got a great game. You got a great game out of Martin Jones the other day, and then you're just going to piss that away when you could be going on a run here ahead of Christmas, leading through December, and just get some type of goaltending, some type of effort for this team. Nothing. 829 save percentage from Samsonov. He's scoring off of his own face through his legs. I'm going to D plus. Great to climb back and get that in the third period. Great to have Matthews get another 2 goals. Nylander, another goal here tonight. I love seeing that from those guys, but it's like complete and utter failure. Like, F does not even do justice to what happened in the first 2 periods of this game. It was a pretty pathetic effort to start. I cannot believe that this team just still continues to come out like that. Cannot believe it. To climb back in the third period, great. It was a great effort. I respect that. I respect that you get to the overtime and you get a point out of it. I think people are not truly understanding or realizing how bad of a hockey team the Columbus Blue Jackets are. 6 1/3. It is a 3-period game, and they played like shit for 2 of them. So congratulations. You're just going to sit there and admire the third, the one good one. Good for you. There was 2 other ones, and they were pretty fucking bad. So whoop-de-doo. It was a bad hockey game. Pathetic. At home. On home ice. Brutal. Brutal game for 40 minutes. Deserved every single boo, if not more. Great third period, but I don't think people are truly understanding and comprehending how bad Columbus is. They're not very good. It was tough. D plus is my grade. A D plus. Bad game. Bad game. Bad game. I don't know. Not impressed. It's just continue what you did the other day. If you lost to Columbus tonight, I wouldn't have even been mad. The whole thing is the effort. It wasn't there for 40 minutes. Too little, too late with this team. They always do this. And then people say, well, what a great effort. It's like, well, play a complete game. And maybe you don't have to worry about this. Because they do it in the inverse too. Great 40, shitty 20 at the end. Figure that out. Figure it out. That'll do it for tonight's stream. I appreciate everyone who came in here, all the new subscribers to the channel. We did climb up a little bit. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the stream tonight. We did a stream on Monday. We did a long stream on Tuesday. We're going to have another stream coming up here on Saturday after the game against the Penguins, against Dubas. It's going to be a lot of content coming up here on the channel over the next little while. You're going to want to see all of that. So make sure to subscribe here. Turn on notifications so you get notified every single time that we go live here on the channel. New videos drop, anything like that. Subscribe, turn on notifications. I appreciate the support. I appreciate all of that. I'm going to try to put out more videos that aren't just live streams. Try to add things out there for people. Thank you very much. 6 1/3. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. I'm fine with hearing out the opinions. I'm going to push back on them if I disagree. It's no disrespect, but I'm going to disagree with some of these. Thank you for the support from everyone. Thank you for hopping into the chat here tonight. The Leafs, this has been game number 27 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Leafs lose this one 6-5 in overtime despite climbing back and finding a way to tie this one up late in the final 20 minutes and lose this one, going to 15-6-6 on the season. Thanks so much to everyone who tuned in. Look forward to seeing you guys Saturday night after the game against the Penguins. Keep believing.